Okay, so what I want to talk about in this video is basically the differences between general or niche stores. There are differences between the two. I do and have tried both and still have both to this day, but I just wanted to explain my personal experiences and what I think you should do and some of the pros and cons and break them down. Right, so a general store or a niche store. Choices are the hinges of destiny. Now you have two choices but one goal, okay? And let me just show you the differences. Now, a general store is a store that is not limited to a certain niche. Now, for example, Selfridges, Barney's, Walmart, Amazon, okay? They're all big, have big departments inside each store, but cater for a wide range of different niches, different products and different stuff like that. So they sell a wide range of products in different niches, okay? Whereas on the other hand, the other option have is a niche store. Now, as that is a store that is based around a certain niche. So for example, let's say Foot Locker only focuses on trainers. You know, MAC Cosmetics is only beauty products. Movement Watches is a massive Shopify store based around watches. You may have heard of them. And Gymshark, okay, you may have heard of those again. They're on Shopify and they just focus on gym clothing. They generally stick to selling in a certain niche, okay? And although they may sell different types of products, okay, the niche itself is still the same. Now, there's pros and cons of, both of them, having a general store and having a niche store. So I want to break down the pros and cons of each of them so you can understand a little bit more. Now, with a general store, okay, it's easier to get started. You do not have to spend time thinking and researching which niche you want to get into. And this is one thing that holds people back so much and makes them just procrastinate so much, okay? They don't know which niche they want to go into and they spend so much time researching into, what niche should I go into? Is the audience big enough? Are there enough buyers? What sort of products should I go into? And they don't actually do anything or take any action. So a general store is just super easy just to knock on and crack on, getting the website live and open and then worry about testing, the range of products that you can. Now, there's no limits to test. You can test a wider range of products due to no niche restriction. Remember, if you got a general store, then you can test whatever you like. You can sell basketball stuff with cat stuff, with, pet supplies, with cooking stuff. If you've got a niche store, which is just cats, you can only just test cat products because if not, it's going to look super weird. Now, you have mass appeal with a general store because you're catering for a wider audience with different products that are easier to sell trending products. You can just jump on a trend without worrying about, any sort of, whether the product fits into your website or not, because the website is just going to be a general store, essentially. Now, okay, you've got more room to scale as well. So the wider audiences means you have more room to scale products. So, you're going to be catering for general audiences. And some of these audiences on Facebook could be massive as, millions, 5 million, sometimes 20 and 50 million. So when you do have something that is working, okay, you have much more room to scale, having a general store than having a niche store. And of course, build bigger emailing lists because you're collecting a lot of emails in different niches, different audiences. You're going to be able to build a bigger emailing list and you can sell them more products, okay, that they've purchased when you segment it down. And I will talk about email marketing in this course as well. Now, of course, there are some cons of a general store. First and foremost, less repeat customers, okay? Customers are less likely to buy from your store as most are impulse buys, okay? They're going to be scrolling down on Facebook, see your advert, click through, purchase it. This looks great. This looks fantastic. I need this now. Purchase it. And that is it, okay? It's very rare that they're going to come back and purchase, another product from your website. But this can still happen and you can improve on your returning customer rate. And I'm going to show you some ways later on in the course about having email marketing and having a proven back-end system in place to help send out emails and upsell more products. And of course, increasing your lifetime value of your customers as well. Now, they're harder to sell your website, okay? General stores are harder to sell if you ever wanted to sell it to another person. There are Shopify Exchange where you can buy, ready-made Shopify stores. A lot of them are all just general stores. So it is very hard for you to sell, not very hard. It's probably harder to sell your general store than having a niche store. and they can be harder to brand. So general stores are harder to brand due to catering for multiple niches. So, you know, you are going to be trying to cater for multiple different people. So people who like basketball, people who like cats, and so on and so on and so on. So you have to have a neutral name and a neutral design, okay? Keeping things very neutral, very plain, very, you know, and not being so specific with, you know, a certain color theme or something like that, just so, you know, it's a neutral theme and it's a neutral design because you're catering for a whole host of different people. Now, there are pros of a niche store, so let's talk about those. Now, they are easier to brand. You can brand your store and brand's message a lot more easier if you know your niche, okay? Like I said, it can take a long time for you to actually know your niche or which one you actually want to go into. But once you know what that is, it's pretty easy for you to then brand your message and your store's brand message and what you stand for, your values and stuff like that once you know what it is. You have long-term saleability. Now, it can be easier for you to sell a niche specific store than a general one because, of course, you're going to have a whole massive email list just full of people who like X, whatever X is. And, of course, you have more repeat customers. Unlike a general store, okay, you know, customers are more likely to come back due to the closer linked affiliation with the niche, okay? If you've got a cat store, you know, you've got tons of cat products on there, people are more likely to just come back to your website and purchase those cat related products because they've got a strong affiliation with that website and that niche, of course. But of course, there's cons of a niche store, so let's talk about those. You're limited on testing. You can only sell products that fit your chosen niche. Like I said, if you've got a cat store, you can't then go and sell cooking stuff because it's just going to look super weird and stick out like a sore thumb. It's not going to fit your brand. So you only have to then go out and find cat related products. And, you know, of course, if there isn't any cat related, well, there will be cat related products, but if there isn't that many winners or so in your cat related niche, then you're going to be limited on the products that you can test. And it can, you know, delay your product research time because you're only looking for a certain type of product. Can be longer to set up, and like I mentioned, you know, unless you actually know what your chosen niche is, you can spend valuable time just researching for the right one, you know, for the right niche and the perfect niche, which I've seen happen before to quite a few people. Less room for mass scale. Now, depending of course on your niche, you could be limited to scale. Now, if you choose a small niche, okay, let's say windsurfing or something like that, you know, windsurfing isn't as big as people who like, you know, cooking or basketball, for example. So if you do choose a small niche, then you are going to be limited and you're not really going to get that mass scale. But you can obviously choose a larger niche and sometimes combat that and negate that some way. Now, limited appeal. Your store is only going to be limited. Your store is only going to appeal to people who are within your niche. You know, no one else. That is it. So if you have got a cat store, if you don't own a cat, or you haven't got an interest in cat, then no one is going to purchase from your store. It's as simple as that. Now, here is my personal opinion, okay? I've done both. I have both. So I've been on both sides of the fence and, you know, I have a little bit of experience and just want to try to give you my personal experience on what I think you should do if you're just getting up and running from the beginning. Now, what I suggest you do is start a general store, okay? Start smelling what's selling. And I love this quote. This is what you need to do. They're easier to get up and running, okay? You're not wasting valuable time and there's no limits on the products that you can test, okay? You may be finding winners in all sorts of different niches and you can use and test them all without taking time, without taking consideration and all these sorts of things into does it fit my niche, does it fit my website, and so on and so on and so on. Now, over time, you will realize what niches are selling for you. You may find that 3 or 5 niches, you know, you become good at those niches. You know, you start to see what works. You might be selling a product and it becomes a winner. You then find a similar product and think, okay, you know, I know that this interest, that interest, and that interest works well. So let me test this new product to them. And then what you can do is you can then focus more on those niches when you're looking for new products. And like I said, if you have found something that is working previously before, you're going to then know what that audience reacts to and you can focus more on that. Now, of course, there's still no limit onto what products you can test. So one day you could be, you know, finding products in cooking and next day, you know, you can start testing products or a winner in, you know, basketball or whatever it may be. There's no limits whatsoever. So my advice, start a general store and start smelling what's selling. Now coming up next, the next section is all about actually building your store and building a high converting store. So when you're driving traffic, you actually start converting those into customers. So I hope you got some value from this video, and I'll see you in the next section.